We've all felt it, haven't we? That relentless, often unspoken pressure to be, well, perfect.
Yeah.
It's this illusion. It just bombards us daily, especially online, with these curated lives that look just effortlessly flawless.
Absolutely.
And we chase it. We push ourselves often straight into burnout, anxiety, and just that gnawing feeling of never quite measuring up. It's exhausting.
And honestly, often leaves us feeling profoundly unfulfilled.
It absolutely is. So many of us get caught in that cycle, convinced that if we just, push harder, iron out every single tiny flaw, then bam, true success and happiness will just magically appear.
Right.
But what if that very pursuit is actually the roadblock, not the path?
Exactly. So what if the true journey to sustained motivation and genuine growth and really lasting well-being, what if it isn't about achieving some elusive perfection at all, but instead it's about embracing and actually celebrating every single step of, progress along the way?
That's our mission today. We're going to really unpack how this powerful mindset shift can fundamentally transform your approach to life. We'll be drawing insights from deep psychological research, but also relatable real-world experiences.
Okay, let's start by shining a light on the very real and often hidden costs of chasing perfection. Because on the surface, it can look like a strength, right? Drives you to strive for excellence.
Yeah, people wear it like a badge of honor sometimes.
They do, but here's where it gets interesting. Psychological research reveals it's often rooted in these really deep-seated fears of not being good enough, fear of failing, or even rejection.
Wow.
It can be a powerful, yes, but ultimately self-defeating coping mechanism, often for feelings of shame and inadequacy, pushing us to essentially kind of disown our true selves.
So it's not actually about doing your best work. It's more about avoiding some, imagined negative outcome.
Pretty much, yeah.
I've heard it described like having this unrelenting inner critic, almost like a coach who, initially seems to want you to succeed, but then just berates you constantly, makes you practice until you're exhausted, yells when you need a break. It's completely counterproductive.
Totally counterproductive.
You'd think that kind of pressure cooker would lead to success, but it actually just cycles you right into burnout and decreased productivity.
Spot on. That thing you think is driving you actually leads to this perpetuating cycle of disappointment and the impact on your well-being. It's profound.
How so?
Well, we're talking chronic stress, a loss of quality time that you could be spending just enjoying the present moment, and a real disconnect from yourself. It can even prevent you from starting tasks altogether. You get paralyzed by the fear of getting it wrong. Imagine having a brilliant idea but never launching it because it's not perfect yet. That's the real cost.
Okay, that paints a pretty clear and frankly kind of bleak picture of the problem.
Yeah.
So how do we flip the script? How do we actually embrace this progress over perfection mindset?
Right.
For me, I think a huge part of it lies in understanding the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset.
Absolutely. That's fundamental. A fixed mindset is basically believing your basic qualities, like intelligence or talent, are just set in stone. You're either born smart or you're not. End of story.
Right. Carved in granite.
Exactly. But a growth mindset, on the other hand, really champions the belief that these qualities can be developed through effort, through dedication, through learning. This is the true antidote.
Okay.
Because with a growth mindset, failures aren't dead ends. They're seen as crucial learning opportunities. It completely transforms your perspective on challenges.
So it's less about some innate magical ability and more about the courage to just keep learning, keep trying, even when you stumble.
Precisely.
Which brings me to a really powerful idea I heard. Done is better than perfect.
Yes! Love that.
The focus shifts,
Yeah.
right? From some idealized, flawless outcome to simply taking action. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
A project completed at 80% is vastly more advanced than one that was never even started because you were paralyzed by that fear of not hitting 100% perfection.
Exactly. Action builds momentum. It builds clarity, even if it's, incomplete or messy at first.
That's where iteration comes in, I guess.
And that's precisely where iteration comes in. Every project, every challenge, it becomes a work in progress. This iterative approach actually welcomes continuous improvement.
Yeah.
You're encouraged to experiment, to treat mistakes not as these huge personal failings, but just as valuable lessons. You learn, you refine, you grow. And that growth, it's often messy, and unpredictable, and certainly not linear.
Definitely not linear.
But that's truly part of its beauty. It's about accepting the journey, bumps and all, not just laser focusing on the destination.
Given all this, it really sounds like we need some powerful counter strategies. What's maybe the first, perhaps most overlooked tool in our arsenal when it comes to shifting this whole mindset?
Okay, it's something many, many of us skip. Celebrating.
Celebrating. Really?
Yay.
Why does your brain need it? There's actually deep science behind this.
Mm.
Celebrating successes, even the really small ones, directly activates your brain's reward system. It releases dopamine.
Dopamine. Okay.
And this isn't just a fleeting feel-good moment. This chemical reinforcement actively boosts your motivation. It strengthens your self-efficacy. That's that deep-seated belief in your own ability to succeed. And it increases overall life satisfaction.
Yeah.
It's almost like a physiological need, like, sleep or water.
Wow. So skipping celebrations is basically like depriving your brain of something essential.
Kind of, yeah.
Because if we don't acknowledge those gains, whether it's, I don't know, hitting a work target or maybe just adding an extra rep at the gym, we risk becoming cynical and just exhausted. It contributes directly to chronic stress and burnout. It's that feeling of insufficient rewards, making you feel like you're just on a never-ending treadmill. Exactly right. I remember working with this CEO, let's call her Jada. She recently hit her massive annual goal international expansion a full 6 months early. Huge win.
Amazing.
Monumental. But as soon as she mentioned it, her mind was already leaping to the next objective, acquiring some foreign competitor.
Oh, wow. No pause at all.
None. When I asked her, so how are you planning to celebrate this amazing achievement? She looked at me like I just asked her to, I don't know, flap her arms and fly to the moon.
Huh. It hadn't even crossed her mind.
Not even remotely. So we worked on actually planning a celebration with her friends. And you know what? Not only did it provide some real closure for that enormous effort, but it also fostered deeper connections and crucially allowed her to reflect on what truly worked, what made that success possible.
That's such a powerful example. So it's not just about the temporary good feeling. It's about really processing the journey. Celebrating gives your brain that crucial opportunity to solidify the lessons learned. It makes your future actions more intentional, more effective. You're actually learning more when you take that moment to celebrate.
Precisely. It's integration. Okay, so let's move to some actionable strategies you can use right now to cultivate this mindset of progress and well-being in your own life. First up, and this is truly transformative, practice self-compassion.
Okay, self-compassion. It gets thrown around a lot these days, but what does it really mean in practice? And why is it so powerful against perfectionism? Is it just about, being nice to yourself?
It's far more than just being nice, though that's part of it. Self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness, the same understanding, the same patience you would offer a trusted friend who's struggling. Perfectionists are often their own absolute harshest critics, right? They can have immense compassion for others, but almost none for themselves.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
Many of us are. But groundbreaking research on self-compassion programs, including studies at major universities, has revealed actual measurable physiological benefits. Things like increased heart rate variability, which literally calms your nervous system down.
Wow.
Participants who practiced self-compassion saw significant reductions in self-criticism, in shame, even fear of compassion itself, while increasing self-reassurance, mindfulness, and overall life satisfaction. It's about fundamentally rewiring your inner dialogue.
Those are really powerful results. Okay, so for listeners, what's a small, actionable step they could take, maybe even today, to start practicing this self-compassion?
A really simple one is what's called a self-compassion break. When you notice you're struggling or being really self-critical, just stop for a moment. Acknowledge the pain or discomfort you're feeling. Recognize that suffering, difficulties, they're part of the shared human experience. Everyone feels this way sometimes.
Okay.
And then offer yourself a kind, comforting phrase, something like, may I be kind to myself in this moment? Or even just simply acknowledging, this is hard right now.
That's a wonderful immediate tool. Okay, next up, we have a really timeless approach for personal growth. Journaling. For self-discovery and tracking progress. And this isn't some, new age fad. Great thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci, Marcus Aurelius, they used journals.
Indeed. Journaling is such a powerful, historically proven tool for personal growth. Just the act of writing down your thoughts provides incredible clarity. It helps you sort through tangled emotions, identify those negative thought patterns, and maybe even start reframing them into more positive mindsets.
Right.
And it's also a really powerful visual way to track your positive changes, see how far you've come, identify areas maybe for improvement, and crucially, celebrate your successes. Your journal becomes this safe, judgment-free space to kind of debug your brain, release tension, and reduce stress. It's like creating your own personal operating manual.
I love that. Debug your brain.
Yeah.
And for anyone who feels intimidated by that blank page, The sources offer some great practical advice, like choose a medium that feels natural to you, right? Pen and paper, or maybe a digital app.
Whatever works.
Find a quiet, distraction-free space if you can. Don't feel pressured to write for hours. Even just a few minutes consistently is the key.
Consistency over quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Use prompts if you're stuck. You can find tons of ideas online. And maybe most importantly, just let your thoughts flow freely without self-censorship. Remember, it's for you.
Exactly. The goal isn't literary perfection here, it's self-discovery. Okay, moving on. Another vital strategy is building resilience, strengthening that inner bounce-back ability.
Resilience, yeah.
Resilience isn't about somehow avoiding tough situations or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's really about staying mentally and emotionally flexible when you face challenges.
So how do we build that mental flexibility? I'm curious about the specific strategies here, especially if someone tends to get really stuck in perfectionism.
Okay, one key strategy is acceptance. When difficult emotions come up, frustration, disappointment, anxiety, try to just observe them without judgment. Don't try to push them away or change them or label them good or bad. Just notice them. Maybe notice the physical sensations like a tight jaw or clenched fists. This allows emotions to kind of flow through and pass without overwhelming you.
Just noticing. Okay.
Another big one is to focus on what you can control. When you feel adrift or helpless, actively identify what is within your power to change, even if it's small. And reframe setbacks, see them not as definitive failures, but as opportunities for growth. What can I learn here?
That reframing is so important. It really shifts you from feeling like a victim to having agency. What about actually moving forward after a setback? How does resilience help there?
Yeah, that's crucial. Work toward a new goal. Setting a new goal, even a small one, helps you refocus on your values and it inspires that forward motion again. And critically, try to think optimistically.
Optimistically,
Yeah.
but not in a naive way.
Exactly. Not naive, wishful thinking. Optimism, in a psychological sense, is about how you interpret what happens to you. It's often described using the 3 Ps.
The 3 Ps. Okay.
Right. Personalization. Acknowledge your efforts and successes, definitely, but understand that setbacks often have multiple factors. Don't blame yourself entirely. It's not always all about you.
Okay, so not taking it all personally.
Right. Second P is pervasiveness. View setbacks as limited to one area of your life, not as proof that your entire identity or life is flawed. You messed up on this project. It doesn't mean you're a failure as a person.
Got it. Contain the damage.
Exactly. And the third P is permanence. Recognize hardships as temporary. This feeling, the situation, it won't last forever. Things can and will change.
That makes so much sense. It's really about taking agency over your own narrative, isn't it? And preventing one bad event from just tainting your whole outlook on life. What about our relationships with others in building resilience?
Ooh, social connection is vital. Building resilience isn't a solo mission. You need to lean on your support system, friends, family, maybe colleagues you trust. And here's a tip. When you ask for support, try to be specific about what you actually need. Do you just need someone to listen? Do you need encouragement, accountability, maybe practical help? Being clear reduces ambiguity and helps people help you better.
That's really good advice.
Also, don't forget basic self-care. Prioritize sleep, healthy habits, enjoyable activities, things that fill your tank before challenges arise. You really can't pour from an empty cup.
So true. And okay, for those of us, maybe like me sometimes, who tend to avoid things we're not immediately good at, like, I don't know, learning a new instrument or language, what's your advice there for building resilience?
Yes. This is a big one, especially for recovering perfectionists. Actively engage in activities you fear you'll be bad at.
That sounds terrifying.
It does sound counterintuitive. But think of them as low-stakes experiments. Start with activities where being bad doesn't have major real-world consequences. Maybe try that pottery class, or sing karaoke off-key, or learn that instrument you mentioned.
Definitely.
This directly challenges your assumptions about your self-worth being tied to performance. It helps build resilience layer by layer. It's incredibly freeing to realize that making a mistake or not being great at something doesn't actually define you. And often, the process of learning something new is way more rewarding than achieving immediate mastery anyway.
That's a great perspective shift. Okay, so we've talked about avoiding the traps of perfectionism, embracing progress, the science behind celebrating building resilience. But living in a world that constantly bombards us with these images of unattainable ideals, especially online, how do we push back against that overwhelming feeling? It feels relentless sometimes.
It really does. And that's where the enough philosophy comes in. It's a direct, conscious counter to that pervasive image of social media perfection we see everywhere.
The enough philosophy. Tell me more.
It actually stems from a concept in psychoanalysis, the idea of the good enough mother, coined by Donald Winnicott. He argued that a mother doesn't need to be perfect, just good enough, providing sufficient care, love, and security for healthy development.
Interesting. So applying that more broadly.
Exactly. Applied broadly, embracing good enough in all aspects of your life, your career, your relationships, your daily routines, even your home, leads to more balance, more happiness, and a significant reduction in FOMO, that fear of missing out.
Ah, FOMO. Yeah.
It's about consciously recalibrating your internal compass, recognizing that your life, exactly as it is right now, with its imperfect routines and small joys and messy bits, is profoundly enough. It allows you to just breathe out that constant pressure and breathe in contentment.
That's such a refreshing, almost radical perspective in today's world. It feels like reclaiming your joy from that constant comparison trap.
It really is.
Okay, finally, to bring all this together in a really practical way, how can we actually structure our goals and, crucially, our celebrations to make them an integral part of our growth journey, not just an afterthought?
This is where we get really practical and intentional. First, define your big picture annual goals. Then, break them down using the SMART framework. Make them specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
SMART goals. Got it.
This gives them structure and accountability. Then, subdivide those further into quarterly, monthly, weekly, maybe even daily goals or actions.
Okay, breaking it down small.
Yes. And once you have those milestones, pre-plan small rewards for your weekly or monthly achievements. Maybe it's that specialty coffee you love. Maybe it's booking a massage. Maybe it's just an hour to read uninterrupted.
So you decide the reward before you achieve the goal.
Yes. And for bigger wins, hitting those quarterly or annual goals, attach specific larger rewards that feel meaningful to you. Perhaps it's a weekend away, a special meal out, or tackling that home renovation project you've been dreaming of.
So it's not just hoping, oh, I'll celebrate when I feel like it, but actually intentionally baking it into your process.
Yeah.
How do we make sure we actually stick to doing the celebrating part? Because it's easy to just move on.
It is so easy to just move on. And here's a pro tip. Find an accountability partner.
Ah, okay.
Share your goals and your celebration plan with someone. Having someone who knows what you're working towards and who will ask you, hey, did you take time to celebrate that win? It can make a huge difference. It's a powerful motivator. And it really helps reinforce that positive feedback loop we talked about earlier.
That makes perfect sense, having someone else in your corner. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's just maybe reiterate the core message. Shifting from that relentless, perfection-driven mindset to one that truly celebrates progress. It's a fundamental step towards a more motivated, more resilient, and frankly, more joyful life.
Absolutely. True fulfillment doesn't lie in reaching some flawless, static endpoint, but actually in appreciating the messy, dynamic, ongoing journey of continuous growth and learning. It's really about freeing yourself to live, not just to constantly strive and achieve.
So, maybe a final thought for you listening. What small win, what tiny step of progress did you make today or this week or even this year that maybe you haven't truly acknowledged, haven't celebrated? And how could embracing this idea of good enough, truly enough, free you to celebrate your own unique journey and actually live it instead of constantly chasing some unattainable ideal that probably doesn't even exist? Something to think about.